You know, when a celebrity says they can't get work, you usually picture a specific story. Maybe, a string of flops.
Right. Or someone who's just not the hot new thing anymore. It's that classic Hollywood decline narrative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the story we're looking at today just completely breaks that mold. We are talking about A.R. Rahman.
I mean, the man is a living legend.
He has 2 Oscars, multiple Grammys. He didn't just give us Jai Ho. He reinvented the sound of Indian film with albums like Roja and Dil Se. He's probably the most globally recognized Indian composer alive.
And yet, if you actually look at the big Bollywood soundtracks from the last, say, 5 or 6 years, he's often not on them.
And that's the paradox. That's what we're diving into. Rahman did this interview recently with the BBC Asian network, and it sent, absolute shockwaves through the industry.
Oh, yeah.
He claims he's being ghosted by Bollywood. And he hinted it wasn't just bad luck, but something much more specific and honestly much more troubling.
And this isn't just celebrity gossip. This is a claim that basically cracks open the entire engine of the modern Indian film industry to show you how it's changed.
Right.
We're talking about power shifts, accusations of religious bias, corporate takeovers, all of it.
So our mission for this deep dive is to try and piece this together. Is a musical icon actually being blacklisted in a polarized India? Or is this just, the cold reality of capitalism?
Or maybe a bit of both. And I think to get to the bottom of it, we have to start with the interview itself. Because Rahman he's normally so diplomatic, he never makes waves.
Never.
But he used a very particular phrase that jumped out at me immediately. He said, Chinese whispers.
Chinese whispers. Like the kids' game, right? Where a message gets totally distorted by the time it reaches the end of the line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in the world of Bollywood boardrooms, Chinese whispers is a very polite term for what sounds a lot like a smear campaign.
Okay, so what did he actually describe happening?
He laid out a scenario where he hears that a director really wants him for a film. They're all set to work together. But then a music company, and he was very specific about that, steps in.
The music label, not the director or producer.
Right, and that distinction is everything. This label apparently tells the filmmaker, no, don't go to him. We have other composers you should use.
So wait, just to clarify for everyone, in India, the music labels have that much power. They can veto a director's choice of composer.
Immense power.
Yeah.
Because they buy the music rights outright, and the music is a massive part of a film's marketing budget. So if a label like T-Series or Sony is bankrolling the music promotion, their voice carries a lot of weight.
So what Rahman's saying is the artists still want him.
Yeah.
But the executives, the suits, are the ones blocking the work. He actually said, people who are not creative have the power now to decide things.
Which is such a sharp critique. It's art versus commerce, pure and simple. But then he added another layer to it, a much darker layer.
The communal thing.
The communal thing. He didn't outright say I'm being discriminated against because I'm Muslim, but he heavily implied that these whispers, these rumors, are using his religious identity to scare people off.
So the whisper isn't just, oh, he's difficult or he's too expensive. The whisper might be hiring him could be a problem in today's climate.
That's the implication. He called it subtle exclusion. It's not a door slamming in his face. It's a quiet email, a decision made in a meeting he'll never be invited to. And that's impossible to prove.
And the timing of him saying all this is just, it's wild. Because he's talking about being sidelined while he's working on what might be the biggest project of his entire career.
Nitesh Tiwari's Ramayana.
The Ramayana, a retelling of the Hindu epic on a scale we've never seen before. And the composers are A.R. Rahman and Hans Zimmer.
I mean, it's just a mind-blowing collaboration. The soul of Indian music with a titan of Hollywood scores. It shows you the level he's actually operating on. He's not just another Bollywood guy.
But, of course, because this is the internet in 2026, the reaction wasn't just, wow, amazing music on the way.
No. Instantly, the trolling began. A very loud minority online started asking, why is a Muslim composer scoring a sacred Hindu text?
Which is just so absurd. I mean, his song Vande Mataram is basically a national hymn in India. He's been defining the sound of the country for 30 years.
Totally. But his response to this trolling was what was so brilliant. He didn't get angry. He didn't fight back.
What'd he do?
He got personal. He told this story about how he grew up studying in a Brahmin school. He said, every year we had Ramayana and Mahabharata, so I know the story.
So he was establishing his cultural connection to it, saying, I grew up with this is my story too.
Exactly. It's a really disarming move. And then he brought it all together with Hans Zimmer. He just laid it out so simply. He said, Hans Zimmer is Jewish, I am Muslim, the Ramayana is Hindu.
Wow.
And his point was that this is a story for the world. He said the message is spreading from India to the world with love. He framed it as a piece of universal art.
It's such a beautiful, unifying idea, the kind of idea India was built on.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily the India we live in right now. The climate is very polarized.
Yeah.
And that's why the backlash to his ghosting interview came not just from trolls, but from some very powerful people inside the industry.
Okay, let's get into that. Because it wasn't all just hate, right? There were some actual arguments made against his claim. Shobhaa, the columnist, she had a strong take.
She did. She called his comment about a communal thing very dangerous.
Dangerous how?
Her argument is basically that Bollywood has always been a meritocracy. For 50 years, she says, nobody cared about your last name or your religion. If you were talented, if you made hits, you worked.
She's pointing to, like, the three Khan Shahrukh, Salman, Amir, who've dominated for decades.
Exactly. So her point is, don't bring religion into this. It was never a factor before you brought it up. She thinks if he's not getting work, it's for professional reasons, not religious ones.
And then you had the singer Anup Jalota. He had a different theory.
Yeah, he went with what I'd call the burnout theory. He basically said Rahman worked so much, so intensely for so long that he saturated the market. His exact quote was that Rahman did 25 years of work in just 5 years.
So the argument is that audiences and directors just need a break from his sound. It's cyclical.
It's cyclical, it's not personal, it's not bias, it's just the natural lifespan of a top artist's career.
Okay, so those are the professional critiques, but then things get political. And very personal, Kangana Rana weighed in.
And Kangana's accusation was a game changer because she didn't just offer an opinion, she claimed to have a receipt.
What did she say?
She claimed that she personally approached Ravan to compose the music for her film, Emergency.
And he turned her down.
According to her, yes. And not only that, she claims he called her film propaganda.
Oh, okay. That definitely complicates the narrative.
It completely flips it. Her argument becomes, you're not being ghosted, you're the one doing the ghosting. You're excluding yourself based on your own political prejudice.
I mean, that's a fair point. If you turn down work because you disagree with its politics, which is your right, you can't really complain that people aren't hiring you.
It adds this whole other layer of complexity. Maybe he is being more selective. Maybe he doesn't want to align with certain pro-establishment projects. And that, naturally, is going to shrink his pool of offers.
And just when you think it can't get any more intense, the VHP, the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, gets involved.
Yeah. Vinod Bansal from the VHP made a comment about Garwapsi.
Can you explain what that means?
Garwapsi means homecoming, and it's a term used for campaigns to convert non-Hindus back to Hinduism. He brought up Rahman's birth name, Dilip Kumar. He converted to Islam as a young man, and essentially suggested he should change his religion back.
See, that for me is where the whole "it's just market forces" argument starts to crumble.
Right.
When a major socio-political group is telling you to change your faith to fit in, that kind of proves Rahman's point about a communal thing, doesn't it?
It absolutely validates his feeling that his identity is a target. It moves the conversation from your music isn't right for this film to yourself isn't right for this industry. And that's the poise of the Chinese whisper.
So we have this absolute mess of professional fatigue, political friction, and outright religious hostility. But I want to circle back to something you said at the beginning, the music companies, because there seems to be a huge structural argument here that might be the real key.
I think it is. This is the part that gets lost in all the drama. Since, let's say, 2018, Bollywood has gone through this huge corporatization. The old school gut instinct producer is a dying breed. Now it's all about corporate boards, studios, streaming services.
And what do corporations hate more than anything?
Risk. They are allergic to risk. And they love data. And the data right now tells them that a remix of an old hit song will probably do well on Instagram Reels.
And A.R. Rahman is not an Instagram Reel composer.
Not at all. He builds worlds. His songs take 6 minutes. They have intricate orchestrations. You have to sit with them. For an executive in a boardroom looking for a guaranteed viral marketing tool, Rahman is a risk. A new version of a 90s classic feels safe.
So it's exclusion by algorithm.
Partly, yeah. And then you have the new generation. Composers like Anirudh and Teman. They're brilliant, they're young, and crucially, they are incredibly fast. They get the digital ecosystem.
And I'm guessing they're more affordable than a double Oscar winner.
That's part of it, but it's also about control. The label has more control over a younger composer. They can say, hey, we need a rap verse here, or make the beat faster. You You don't give notes to Rahman.
Right. You hire Rahman for his vision. You don't hire him to micromanage.
Exactly. So for a control-focused executive, he's a headache. A younger artist is efficient. And then there's technology. AI, better software. It has lowered the barrier for entry. You can make a hit on a laptop now.
So excellence becomes a luxury good.
It does. Rahman is a luxury item in a fast fashion market. And there's one last piece, the North-South divide.
Oh, interesting.
We've all seen how South Indian films like RRR and Pushpa have been dominating. Rahman is from Chennai. He's a South Indian icon. There's a theory that as the South rises, there's a sort of quiet protectionism in the Mumbai industry, a subtle preference for local talent.
So a Chinese whisper could be any of these things. He's too expensive. He's too slow. He's too political. He's too Muslim. He's too South Indian.
And in that corporate risk-averse world, it doesn't even matter which whisper is true. The second there's any whisper at all, the risk manager just says no.
That's the real tragedy of it, isn't it? It's not one single villain. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts from people just trying to play it safe.
The banality of exclusion. It's just silence.
Okay, but before we wrap this up, we need a reality check. We've been talking about him as if he's, sitting at home waiting for the phone to ring. Is A.R. Rahman actually out of work?
Chuckles.
Yeah.
Not even close. I mean, if you look at his upcoming projects, the whole victim narrative gets a little shaky.
So what's on the slate besides the Ramayana?
He's got Shobhaa, which is a huge historical epic. He has a film called Moonwalk. He's doing Gandhi Talks, which is a silent film, where his music is the only dialogue. These are all premium artistic projects.
So he isn't making the music for the next big comedy franchise, but he's scoring the films that will be remembered in 20 years.
That's it, exactly. He's operating at the very peak of the pyramid. So the question becomes, is he not getting work? Or is he, at 57 years old, just choosing not to do 20 movies a year anymore?
So if we pull all these threads together, Rahman feels there's a communal thing. His critics say it's just market forces. And the facts show he is still very busy, just on fewer, bigger things. Can all of that be true at the same time?
I think it's the only way it makes sense. The industry has changed. It is more corporate and faster. That structure alone puts an artist like him at a disadvantage.
And then, layered on top of that structural change,
Layered on top, you have the polarized social climate. And a producer might hear one of those Chinese whispers, and they don't even have to be a bigot themselves. They just have to be a coward. They just have to think, you know what? This might cause a headache I don't need. Let's go with the safer option.
it's the not knowing that must be the worst part. You can't fight a shadow.
And I think that's what he's calling out. He wants the conversation to be about the art again, not all the noise around the artist.
Which brings it all back to Ramayana. That project feels like the ultimate test of everything we've just talked about.
It is. If he and Zimmer create a masterpiece, a score so powerful that it makes everyone forget the politics, forget the trolling, then art wins. He wins.
But if the controversy ends up being louder than the music...
And the whispers win. That's what's at stake.
So the question we want to leave you with is this. Is A.R. Rahman just calling out a quiet rot in the system that everyone else is too afraid to name? Or is this just the unavoidable and maybe even brutal reality of an industry that will always eventually move on from its legends, no matter who they are?
Is this a reflection of a divided society? Or is it just the cold, hard logic of the market at work?
There's a lot to think about there. Listen to his music, old and new, and see what you think. Thanks for diving in with us.
Thanks for listening.